Friends in High Places, photographer Andy Gott set out on a project to see how many celebrity connections he could make for a book of celebrity portraits. 8 years on, and Andy has snapped nearly 200 Hollywood stars, all for free and all set up just by word of mouth.
He also gained some admirers along the way. Not a bad claim to fame when Tom Hanks describes you as a genius. But before we talk to the man himself, let's find out who phoned who. Andy photographed Dustin Hoffman, and Dustin asked if he fancied a shoot with Brad Pitt. So Dustin called Brad. During the shoot, Brad called his mate George Clooney, and Andy was invited to George's holiday home on Lake Como. When Andy got home, Julia Roberts had left the message inviting him to meet her while she was in London, and on that shoot, Julia called her friend Susan Sarandon. Susan phoned a friend called Paul Newman, and when he said yes, Andy got to picture one of his all-time heroes. And Andy's here now, so we'll talk about all of those people and all of their pictures in a moment. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Because you've been on the programme before. I can't remember the last time you were on. We've met at private dues because the money goes to for diabetes, which is a subject close to my heart because my family, two of my members of family got diabetes. And you've always said, you know, it's fantastic, the book is amazing, it's incredible, but I can't get it published. And finally, it is a beautiful book. Absolutely
just in time for
stunning.
Christmas.
This is exactly the right thing.
Just in time for Christmas. You need a big stocking for that.
Look at these, and they're just absolutely stunning. But the idea which makes it unique, I think, and so very novel, is this 6 degrees of separation.
Absolutely.
And this was something that was originally it was an American psychologist thing called Stanley Milgram who said that you can connect yourself to anyone on the planet by jumping from 6 people. I know you, you know them, they know them, and you can get to from anywhere to anywhere. And that was where you started.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can get literally from you to an Inuit within 6 lumps. I mean, anywhere, anything. And so I had this idea, and Joss Ackland, he inspired the idea originally because he did have the idea of who slept with who, but who...
You might not get them to admit that,
It's slightly thinner book, I would have thought.
So, I mean, it was back then, 1998, I think. The Kevin Bacon idea, the game, was then coming over to Europe. And so I said, well, take your idea slightly, modify it, and do a chain reaction. And he gave me Greta Scacchi, which is a fantastic first leap, really. And it went on from there. And over this 8 years, because it's been 8 years from day one till I finished about 3 months ago, people from George Cole to Brad Pitt. There's not many books that encompass.
You're lucky as well also that you didn't, the trail didn't peter out, so that you get to someone and they didn't know anyone famous or didn't know anyone that you were interested in, or that they knew a whole lot of people that you'd already done.
That's happened a few times. I mean, 2 or 3 times. I mean, Anthony Hopkins was a favourite. Everyone said no. Tony Hopkins. He said no a number of times. Then a few things happened behind my back. Brad Pitt called his manager, and it all happened behind closed doors. And one day I had a phone call saying, Tony said yes.
Fantastic. Wow. Because I suppose once you've done them, once you've done somebody like Julia Roberts, and she's enjoyed the set, you know, she's enjoyed having a picture taken, very happy with the result, then obviously she's going to say, oh, this is okay, this is fine, and she'll pass it on and pass it on. So I suppose the more you were doing, did it get easier or did it get tougher?
Oh, but it was peaks and troughs. It started off really hard. I worked with 300 actors, 1 response, which was Joss. Then it was very, very slow. Then after about a year, it sped up quite dramatically. I mean, I was doing maybe 3 or 4 a week, which was normally unheard of. Normally it's the months in between. Then I was getting big names, like Kirk Douglas and all big Hollywood names. Then it went really quiet, but for no reason at all. Then it picked up again, and since we met last time, over this last year, the people that have been involved have been amazing.
So let's talk about the people that you've met since last we spoke. So we've got 3 on the wall here who we've mentioned already. So let's go through them. Tell us what they were like. Tom Hanks, you say he was a tall.
he was a tall character. I mean, this is the only time ever someone's come into a room, a security guard, and done a sweep to make sure there's nothing dodgy in there. I don't know why, but apparently he had his reasons. What they were, I don't know.
Where did you do them? Where did you do the picture?
I done Tom in London. He's over here now. He's still doing Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
So,
So that was very recent then?
Very recent. I mean, but 4 months ago. So
how did you get him to make that face?
Well,
he looks so relaxed. All the people in your pictures look very relaxed and very comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, but normally the way I work, it's just myself and them. There's no assistants, there's no stylist, nothing. And they can feel it's more intimate and they can mess about if they wish. They've got full approval of any shots anyway, so they don't mind messing about.
Right.
And Tom had seen some of my work I've done, and he was going, "Oh, you're an artist, you're a genius, you're fantastic." I said, well, "You are taking the mickey, aren't you?" He said, "Yes, actually, I am taking the mickey out of you." But I mean, he was just playing around to me, and this whole series of him spinning around and being really flamboyant. But that one just summed up, what he.
I really like that.
He is very childish. I mean his mannerisms and that sort of.
Well, to get the sort of link that got you to Paul Newman, sort of your most thrilling person. That's who you wanted to take
for ages.
And that really has been, at the end of the thread, get me to Paul Newman at the end of it. And there you've got, well, you obviously took a lot of shots, but 4 amazing shots of the guy who's obviously having a good time.
Because he's very reserved. When I've seen him being interviewed and he doesn't give anything away, to see him like that, especially that one where he's making that funny face and trying to strangle himself, that's extraordinary.
Yeah, but I was very lucky because before I shoot anyone, I do research because I don't want to copy anyone's work. So I do a bit of research. Every shot I saw, he was very reserved, very,
contained,
actor.
Yeah.
And when I met him, he was the funniest guy. He spent half an hour trying to get elastic band up his nose for no apparent reason. I mean,
okay, we're worried about him now.
He said, I want to do a whole series of shots picking my nose, which I'd done for him for personal reasons, and then he was pulling his thing out of his nose. And he was the funniest guy. Out of, I'd say, about 100 shots, 2 of them were straight, sort of normal classic shots. All the rest were him trying to strangle himself.
Yeah, and what was interesting was you'd always you said that the partnership between him and Redford was fantastic.
Oh, of course.
Wouldn't it be great if you got back together again? What was his reaction to that?
I mean, I've been a buff for ages. I mean, I loved, Butch Cassidy and The Sting. And I said, one more time. He just winked at me and said, maybe one day, son, I will. And it was that day it was released, they're going to do one last TV movie together. So it was nice to be the first person to...
Yeah. And what about beautiful Julia?
Oh, she was fantastic. Again, you have sort of preconceptions of what someone would be like. I mean, Oscar winner, a people's favourite. And she was the most down-to-earth person. She was like an auntie you haven't seen for years. Are you warm enough? Are you thirsty? And haven't you grown? So, this sort of... but she was absolutely fantastic. And I had 2 ideas, more of a staged, arty, hard-lit shot. And she's got the most fantastic smile. I wanted a smiley shot. And so...
That is a smile and a half.
It is a big smile.
It's a big one.
You've got Orlando Bloom to stand in his boxer shorts.
Yeah, I mean, that was a bit naughty because, I mean, I'd seen a shot that David Bailey...
That's great.
I've seen a shot David Bailey took of Michael Caine, the black suit, the white shirt, black tie, very straightforward. And I said to Orlando, I'd like to pay a homage to Bailey and Michael Caine and do the same sort of shot, but with a bit of a twist on it. And I said, well, my idea is to wear boxer shorts with them around your ankles. And he, I'm not very keen on that idea. And I said, well, Keira Knightley said you'll do it for me. He said, well, I'll do it then.
Really? That's how you persuaded him?
Blatant lie. She never said that at all.
Lied.
And then afterwards I said, I was teasing you. And he said, it's fine. He said, it's a great idea. He's seen the Polaroids.
Yeah.
And once they see the shot, then then they're comfortable.
And in the book there's a series of him pulling trousers down, so there's 4 shots and undoing and pulling down slightly. And
now you've spent, I think, somewhere in the region of about £90,000 of your own money. Yeah. It's been a massive journey.